Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Halloween podcast episode to talk about the classic Universal Studios monsters. So, yeah, the last time I did was The Invisible Man with Monster Island Filmvo with Nathan, and so, but this one, I will be talking about the sequel to Frankenstein from 1931. It is The Bride of Frankenstein from 1933. I mean, 35. I mean, and so, yeah, since I did Frankenstein from 1931 last year, and I decided why not do the sequel, Bride of Frankenstein, and we have a special guest here for tonight. Please welcome back Mark Justice from Between the Lines podcast.
Hey, Brendan, how are you?
I'm doing good, Mark. Long time no
Good.
see.
It has been a long time. Thank you for inviting me back on the show. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, and you were actually on my Frankenstein podcast last year
Hmm.
that we did. I gotta say, time flies,
It
and
does.
I'm glad to
Yeah.
doing back to doing more Universal Studios Monster podcasts. And I
Yeah.
thought, since I'm doing Bride of Frankenstein, I decided, like, since you did Frankenstein podcast episode last year with me, I
Yeah.
thought, why not inviting you back for the sequel?
I love that. Yeah, we've been going through a lot of the Universal horror movies on my other podcast on Unsane Radio. We've been talking about those as well. So I think it's because it's Halloween, the October, everyone wants to watch some really good movies, and you really can't get much better than Universal.
Oh yeah, yeah, because Universal kills the classic monster
Yeah,
movies.
I grew up with these. Some of my earliest memories, and I still love seeing the sets. The sets are gorgeous. The outside stages and the interiors. Every time I see a planet spinning and I see a little or a little airplane flying around with a banner or just flying around and that music cueing, I know I'm going to be in for a treat. So it just goes back to my earliest childhood memories.
Oh yeah, same here. And And I I gotta be honest, Mark. I mean, this I'm feeling that this episode may not be over an hour episode. This might be like between a 30 and 40-minute episode here.
Hey, that sounds good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's really not not much to know more about this classic film. I mean, I only see the film like only 5 or 10 times.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
yeah, and I would like how I first discovered the film.
Yeah.
First of all, I did not know that this was a sequel to Frankenstein.
Okay.
Because and because how I first discovered this is because right after my mom got me and dad the one of the old classic DVD collections that has all the monster movies, but with the Frankenstein movies together in one DVD case, and
Hmm.
one of those green DVD cases with the.
Yeah, yeah. I have all the Universal sets. Yeah, they're wonderful sets. I mean, they're a little ancient now. I mean, they've upgraded to 4K and Blu-ray. But no, I still have all mine. They're gorgeous.
Yeah, I miss those, especially one of my favorite ones, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, and 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 so yeah, so that's how I first discovered this film when my mom got me the classic DVD collection of the Frankenstein collection, like
Hmm.
Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Son of
Hmm.
Frankenstein, The
Yep.
Ghost of Frankenstein, and
Yeah.
House of Frankenstein.
Yeah. Of Are you planning on working your way through every Universal movie? Is that the goal right now? Because I don't want to talk ahead and like kind of have you
Oh no no
spoil
no that
something for later. Which of
oh
the
no no
Frankenstein?
no it's all
No.
good.
Okay. Which of the Frankenstein movies is your favorite?
Probably well probably the original was my second favorite, but my favorite one of all time is the Abbott Costello
Oh,
Frankenstein.
nice. Yeah, that came in like 1955, I think. Yeah, that
Actually,
was
1948.
45, 48. Okay,
Yeah,
55. Yeah,
and
that one's really good. That one's I do like that one, and the ones where they meet the mummy. But yeah, the Frankenstein one's actually pretty good, and it also it kind of continued Universal and the monsters, because by that time they were losing popularity after the war. So it kind of
Yeah,
kept those projects going. It kept those monsters kind of relevant. But now we're kind of having fun with them. So
yeah,
I think America, they needed comedy rather than horror, because they just gone through 4 years of horror and World War II. So it makes perfect sense.
yeah. Does I mean, it's yeah. So that's all much I how I discovered that film. I used to watch these old classic films with my dad back then, and we just kind of like watching them.
Hmm.
And yeah, and I when I first watched Bride of Frankenstein, I noticed how the opening was a little different, and then because because it does show some flashback with stock footage of the first film,
Hmm.
but it has some new footage of the Winfield burning down, and it reveals the monster is still alive.
Right, right. It's like a story within a story, because you focus in on Mary Shelley and talking about her writing Frankenstein, and she was saying, but the story's not done. And I loved how they encase the story as more discussing with Mary Shelley about what she
Right.
wrote, because I do love that novel. I think it's one of the best science fiction novels ever written. It's
Oh yeah.
timeless, way more entertaining than Dracula, which is
Oh
just
yeah.
tedious. Um, but yeah, I just, and we have Elsa Lanchester rather, as in dual roles, which is kind of great.
Right. And so I already talk about how I first discovered this film. Let's talk about how you first discovered this film. Try and
It,
remember back.
it was probably on a Friday night. We have a lot of local Cleveland horror hosts that I grew up with, like Houlihan and Big Chuck and Little John. Then Superhost on Saturdays, The Ghoul in the evening. So it was probably on a Houlihan and Big Chuck. It was probably some Friday night when I was like 5 years old or something like that, 6 years old. Um, and I probably just saw it that way. So because I was enamored with anything that had a monster in it, I would watch it. So yeah, that's probably how I discovered it. But it's been too long. I don't recall the actual time when I first saw it, but it just has always been around.
Yeah. Well, well, that's kind of a good. That's a good memory that you share, Mark, and thank you for sharing that. And
Oh, thank you.
yeah, so we already talk about how we first discovered this. Let's talk about how we know much about this classic sequel. This is what I thought about this. Like, this is probably like one of the first Universal Monster sequels ever made. I mean,
Right, right.
yeah,
Hot on the success of Frankenstein and Dracula and the Mummy. They're like, well, what else
and
can we do?
and
Let's
the Invisible
yeah, and the
Man.
Invisible Man. Let's continue with this. Yeah, that's the thing about horror films. And now I'm not sure if it was always true, but horror films are traditionally really cheap to produce, which is why a lot movie studios will bring them out, because usually they star nobody, and they're inexpensive to make, and they make a lot of money. So it's a money bag win for the studio. But I don't know about Universal. Um, but yeah, I think you might be right. It might be the first sequel, but
Yeah,
technically, it's still covered in Mary Shelley's novel. The stuff
yeah,
that happens in Bride of Frankenstein is actually part of the novel Frankenstein. So it is really almost like Frankenstein and Bride are almost like a continuation of the story, even though it takes
r-
some liberties a little bit with the story a little. But so I can look at it that way as well.
yeah. That's how I felt too. I mean, that the Bride of Frankenstein is almost closer related to the original novel of Mary Shelley.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
because right.
it does have Mary Shelley character in it,
Hmm.
and who was played by the same woman who played the bride.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I love the dual role. And yeah, you were right there. Part of the things I like about, and one of the things I know Boris Karloff, who plays the monster, uh, he did not want the monster to speak. He didn't like that in the script.
Yeah.
But the monster does speak. The monster is quite intelligent,
Yeah,
in the
he does.
novel.
Right, but the monster he doesn't speak until somewhere in the middle of the film. And
Right.
so before we get more to that, I mean, and more about the closer to the book or anything about, let's talk about the monster.
Okay.
I mean, Boris. This is Boris Karloff's second time playing the monster, and
Hmm.
but this time they give the monster a new look and detail. I mean, it's just because of what happened in the ending of the first film,
Hmm.
when the windshield burned down.
Yes.
It's like, I mean, when the first film was released in 1931, people thought that the monster was dead at the end because they burned it
Hmm.
down.
Right.
But no, the studios come up with a plan to bring the monster back.
Yes.
But he did not. Yeah, but he did not die from the flames. He actually survived. And yeah, I think of it. Maybe it's because some of the wood and the wooden floor was just kind of breaks down, and the monster kind of falls down into the water pits, and that's at the bottom of the windshield.
Yeah, there was obviously burning. It looks like he's been burned. And his hands, there's injury on his hand, his arms, and his face is burned.
Yeah,
You can
don't
see a little
forget the
bit. Yeah.
hair.
Yeah. You
He's
could
almost
definitely
like
see it.
almost bald
Hmm.
in the film, and yeah, you actually tell that his hair is all gone, and then
Yeah.
it does show some little bit of metals like sticking out of his forehead, like
Yeah, you see some damage for sure to his body. Yeah, but they had to figure out a clever way to bring him back. And then as the Frankenstein series progresses, then we kind of learn that the Frankenstein monster really can't be killed because he's killed multiple times, but he keeps on coming back. So I think the only way to like really have to kill him would be like to put him back under and like dismember him. Put him back to those several components and then maybe incinerate the body. I don't know.
yeah, and I know the makeup of it was done by Jack Pierce,
Yes. Who
and
did the
I
Wolfman? He did all the Universal stuff. I think he did the Mummy as well. Um, yeah, he was a brilliant makeup artist. Yeah.
yeah, he did the original Frankenstein, and
Hmm.
yeah, I love it when he did this new design for it, where yeah,
Yeah.
for the monster
What do you
and
like about the new design?
I mean I know I this new design it looks it's not my favorite design, but I prefer the original design in the original Frankenstein
Hmm.
because yeah, because he the was because Brian he's all burned and he's just like he's just it kind of looks like he's like all like pale out and
Hmm.
and he's all almost bald and everything
Yeah.
and it yeah I mean the I mean it looks good I mean but to me it's my least favorite.
Sure.
And yeah, so anyway, I want to get back to for the opening that is almost
Hmm.
closer to the original novel. I mean,
Hmm.
I know the opening is like the original Frankenstein. It shows the opening of a guy who's give a speech about who warns people about this
Hmm.
film.
Right.
I
Right. They
but
figured
this
if you've already seen Frankenstein, then you've been warned. So there's no reason to have to warn you again.
yeah, but the opening has a different opening. It's
Hmm.
two guys talking to Mary Shelley, who's
Right.
played by the actress who played the bride.
Yes.
Yeah, and then they they actually talk about what happened of Frankenstein and the bride. I mean, I think this whole thing was the whole film was a whole storytelling.
Hmm. I would have liked to have seen another flashback, even toward the end, of back toward the group talking, instead of the ending the way it does. Um, that way we get the full circle. You know, it's like we're with Mary Shelley and talking about her writing. We go into her story and we never leave it. So that's my one thing I'd love to have just come back and finish. You know, but I think we have to be left in that world, because then otherwise we're going to have to kind of keep on using that framing device to bring us back into the next Frankenstein movie. Because on the success of the second one, they were going to keep on making, or on the success of the movies that came before it, they were certainly going to continue making these.
Oh
So
yeah,
it made sense to kind of just keep the focus on the monster world. You know.
yeah, and it. So I wanted to. So let's talk about. I know they brought back some of the same cast. I mean, Victor Frankenstein is back. I mean,
Yeah,
played by I forgot his name, like
Colin Clive.
Colin Clive, who's that's probably be this was be his last role playing Victor Frankenstein before
Right.
he passed away 2 years later.
Yeah, and then the focus of the movies shifts away from, but they're still keeping in the Frankenstein family, as we'll see in Son of Frankenstein. It's kind of like the son. So literally, that's in the title. But then we continue with the Frankenstein name and the tradition, but we continue pushing the story. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
his
the performances are all great in this movie, especially Dr. Pretorius. I think his character is wonderful.
yeah,
Probably my favorite one of the bunch. Although I think, um, you know, having this is probably the most emotion that you get to see from the creature.
yeah,
Um,
which
yeah.
we'll get to that later. I mean,
Okay.
I
Yeah, I
know
don't want to jump ahead too far here.
yeah. I mean, I know Victor Frankenstein. I mean, I know he was a mad scientist. I'll hear about his work.
Hmm.
He was lay on his uh, he was doing his mad science work before his wedding day in the first film,
Right.
but
And
in this one, I mean, he's not like that. Like that, he's not much like in the first film. I mean,
well,
he's
the,
more.
the the hubris that drives him to think he can create like God does, like because he says, now I know what it feels like to be God. That arrogance is seen when he's recovering in the bed, because he's like trying to think of different ways, like, oh, if I could bring back this person to life, or imagine what I could do. Like, he hasn't learned his lesson yet, so there's still that hubris, that arrogant pride that is driving him. So I think ultimately that still becomes that's his flaw, that's his fatal flaw, so to speak.
Yeah, and I know that Doctor Notorious is it
Pretorius, yeah.
Pretorius? Like who's played by. Yeah, I should really pull it up. Like,
Yeah, he's delightful, and he just kind of drinks every line. His performance is wonderful, comes off the screen. Yeah, it's worth to watch. If you've never seen it, just watching for his performance is worth it right there.
yeah, Erdis Sylvester. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the name of the actor who played Doctor Superius. Like,
Hmm. Yeah, and
yeah, I
you'll
mean
see a little bit more about him, and there's a biopic about James Whale called Gods and Monsters, about the director.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah,
classic film.
yeah, really
We
good
will
movie.
talk about that at the end
Sure.
about
Okay.
James Whale. I
Yeah.
mean, Ergus Sylvester does amazing job as Doctor Superius. Like, hey, like he's like the main villain in this one. I mean, he's like trying to blackmail Frankenstein.
Yeah, yeah, he's definitely a catalyst. He's definitely an antagonist for sure. He's not the protagonist, but he's definitely an antagonist, and he's certainly causing things to happen. So, yeah, he certainly is the one driving the narrative here.
Yeah, and he also created little people in that one cool special effects game.
Yeah, it's still really impressive. It's still really impressive. It looks good on the screen, and I'm sure audiences in 1935, 90 years ago now, I bet they were blown away by it, because it is such a really great and seamless looking special effect. And I was watching it today. I'm like, it still looks really good. It
Yeah,
does.
it's still. I mean, it's like I feel like this is like one of the first film that ever showed little people. I mean, tiny people.
Yeah, yeah, that theme comes around later. You'll see that in like the 40s and 50s movies like Dr. Cyclops and The Incredible Shrinking Man, based on the short story. But yeah. Yeah, you might
Yeah,
be
and
right. Yeah, I always thought that of all the things, like I thought, okay, it's probably hard enough to make a person because you have all the nerves and everything that you have to put together, but now you like make them extra tiny. I'm thinking there is an absurdity to like how he said he's kind of grown these like from a seed, like he's kind of created these organic brains, these organic bodies. So I would like to see the process that Pretorius used to kind of grow these little creatures. Like what did he do? And that we don't know. It's not explained in the movie. But I do like that aspect that these were organic creatures, and that's the brain that he's making that he wants to put in a different body. He's grown a brain. It's like he's kind of created one from scratch organically, and I love that because it's a different kind of creation than we see in just Frankenstein, where we're just reanimating dead tissue. Pretorius is a whole other kind of process that creates tissue and brings it to life.
yeah, and yeah, and he decided once he wants to team up with Frankenstein, and he forced him to make another another living creature like Frank,
Yeah, a
like
mate. Yeah.
yeah, to create a mate for the monster. I think because wants to create a new era for the life and death.
Right. Imagines them like breeding and turning into a whole like separate race of humans. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so I noticed like let's talk about the other cast. I mean, there's one cast I want to talk about shortly. I mean,
Sure.
after the when she'll burn and the monster escapes. I know this woman named Yuna Okano,
Hmm.
who also know from the Invisible Man, who is so annoying in the
Yes.
Invisible Man.
Yes. She plays the same kind of character. She's the screeching hen character.
Yeah,
Yes, but she plays it perfectly, and that's what makes her great. And it's her use of here. That's how the tone of this movie is different right from the
yeah.
beginning. You
I
get a
mean,
little bit of humor, which the first one doesn't have. The first one, there's no humor. It's not meant to be funny. It's meant to scare you. But there's a little bit of humor in this in Frankenstein through her character mostly.
yeah, I mean, the Invisible Man, she was so annoying because of her screaming, but
Yes,
in
yes.
Bride of Frankenstein, she's less annoying in that one because
Good.
she doesn't scream that much.
No,
And
no, no. She gets excited, but yeah, she has a more of the role she plays. But she still has that first encounter with the monster that's borders on the comical. So maybe she's just a little bit of a psychic relief or a little bit of a comic relief.
yeah, and hey, hey, so let's talk about Elizabeth. The
Hmm.
I and I've always thought about this character for a long time. I mean, I know I did notice when I first saw this film for the first time. I know I watched the original Frankenstein a few times. I mean, I noticed how different Elizabeth looks
Hmm.
compared to the original. Because
Right.
same thing with my stepdad. Thought the same thing, but she's played by a different actress.
Hmm.
She's not the same actress who was in the original. She's played by a
Right.
different one.
Yeah, I don't know why the casting change was made. It could have been that the other actor was at a different studio or was busy shooting something else. It's hard to say when casting choices are made. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, and it's hell. Let me look it up.
but she is in a very supportive role. She's not in there in the film a lot, but is an important character, in it. Yeah,
Right, and I mean, the first films she was played by Ma Clark, Clark, and I hope I'm saying it correctly. And but in Bride, she's played by Verity Hobson. I
yeah,
hope I'm saying that correct.
yeah. But I don't know why they changed. Yeah, maybe there's something online about that, or maybe one of your fans will know and type in. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she was born in 1917. I mean, when when the film came out, I mean, in 1935, I think she was actually 18 years old when this film came out. Yeah, she
Yeah.
was 18. Yeah, the reason and you do notice, I know we all know she's played by a different actress.
Hmm.
I How we know is because we notice the hair coloring. I mean, the original one, Elizabeth's hair was blonde,
Hmm.
but in the bride, her hair was brown.
Yeah, she was a brunette. It could be just a difference in trends and what was fashionable from 1931 to 1935. And by the 1940s, brunettes were becoming more fashionable. Whereas in the very early 30s and late 20s, the flapper era, blondes were the most popular hair color. So it very well could have just been a changing in like what was the norm, or what was trending or becoming fashionable in American culture at the time.
Yeah, and I know one of the art movie posters, the original movie posters of Bride of Frankenstein, we noticed that the actress who played Elizabeth in this is in one of the original classic art movie posters.
Oh, okay.
That in one of them, but in one of those, she just wears a little purple whitish dress. It's kind of makes her almost look like an angel in one of those. If you look back to
Hmm.
one of those original posters.
Hmm. That's nice.
Yeah, she's like the angel of Frankenstein, which is
Yeah.
Victor, and Dr. Seporius, like he's like, let's say he's like the devil of
Okay.
Frankenstein.
Sure.
Yeah, because he's the villain.
Yeah, and Elizabeth is certainly the guardian angel. She's certainly looking after her husband, and because this is like a continuation, because like it's some wedding day, there's still like that whole wedding is going on, and that thing is supposed to be going on. So this movie really does kind of take place like immediately, after Frankenstein. There's no big space, no big gap of time. So there's a much tighter continuity here, with the story is literally continuing. So because he's recovering from what was going on before that. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, and so we already talked about Elizabeth, and I want to talk about this one uh, touch warming scene and funny is
Hmm.
that is the blind man scene.
Yeah, the hermit. Yes, I'm glad you brought it up because I wanted to talk about that scene. Yeah,
Oh yeah, me too. I mean, well, first let's back it up a bit. So I
sure.
know the monster. I mean, in the original, he's almost like a little violent in the at the end of the film. I mean, but in this one, he's not much. He's not much like vicious or violent,
Well,
scary
well,
in
remember
this
how he's
one.
gotten pushed to violence in the first one by with Fritz. He was tormented with fire. So Fritz really tormented him, and then he had the abnormal brain. So
Yeah,
there was part of that, but there you still see the humanity in the creature in the first one when he's trying to play with that girl, and you just see that he just doesn't know. He's like an innocent child himself, and so you see a lot more of that in this one. The emotion or the pathos is much more present in here, as we see him kind of like reaching out more, like physically reaching out to people and like pleading, and trying to
yeah,
grunt for help, and you see the reaction. So there's a lot of opportunity here to have sympathy for the creature, and that's why I think this really movie is most effective. It's like it's still an emotional scene that you're talking about with the hermit. It's still a very emotional scene.
yeah.
It's a
Like
little melodramatic, a little over the top with the organ, and I get it, but it's still effective. It's still one of
yeah,
like one of my favorite scenes.
yeah. I had to say. I mean, it's like I know when I was saying the first film, the monster became violent and evil at the
Hmm.
end of the original,
Hmm.
but in this one, I know, like you said, he's just like trying to communicate with people. It's like
Yeah,
the
he
mumbling and
reacts like any creature would who's being tormented. You're going to
and
fight
he's
back.
it seems like
you
he's
know.
just looking for some help or
Yes.
looking for a friend.
Yeah,
I
looking
mean,
for a friend, looking for food and drink. I mean, all the things.
and the
And
people are
yeah,
still afraid of him, and
right, right. And he's been maligned, because he's just a creature who doesn't really know the world yet. He doesn't understand anything. And because he's terrifyingly big and strong, he just does things without knowing and, innocently. But then when he, if he's trying to fight his way out, like when he escapes from the jail, he's just like pushing people out of the way and not really meaning to hurt anyone as much as I'm trying to get away, but you can't blame him because, there's those horrible local citizens with their pitchforks and,
yeah,
and their torches. It's like, yeah, yeah, I'd want to get away as well.
yeah. So let's get to the blind man.
Yes.
So, like he first, like the monster, first he mumbles like through the window, and he's like, and the blind man was trying to answer, and who was there? But then the monster appeared again, and when the blind man is playing the violin, like
Hmm.
he, it's like the monster is just here, he's just grumbling, and
Well, he
but the
hears the
blind,
music, yeah, and it draws it to the cabin, and he like wants to get in, but he's also afraid because he's gun shy because people react badly to him, and he doesn't even like the way he looks himself because when he's trying to get that water in the pond or the river, he sees his reflection, and so he knows that he brings out affrights in people. Even the girl he saves who falls in the water, the shepherd girl. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
But the hermit doesn't scream, and why? Why doesn't he react badly?
yeah, because he's blind.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, yeah, and then and I when I saw the film and that scene appears at the blind man, I mean, I thought I thought this scene was familiar. I was like, hey, this is kind of like from Young Frankenstein, which it
Right.
is. The
Yes,
film that's done by Mel Brooks.
right. Yes, Young Frankenstein did a wonderful parody of this scene with Gene Hackman playing the blind man just so beautifully. Yeah, no, it's tremendous. It shows a lot of love and for the genre and for the scene though itself. How important that scene was to Bride of Frankenstein to recreate it in Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
and I should do an episode about that comedy film
Oh, it's good.
someday.
It's a really good movie. It's funny. It's really funny.
Oh yeah, and it so yeah, and I am looking it up. Who played the blind man? I mean, is is I forgot what was his name? Yeah, what did you say his name? Hermit?
Well, he was the hermit. My guess it is that it. Let's
Yeah,
see.
the blind hermit was played by O.P.
O.P.
Higgity.
Hedgie. Yeah, Hedgie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he actually passed away the year after the film was made.
Oh, okay.
Yep, 1936. He passed away.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. It's good thing they filmed. Yeah, they cast him before his passing. I mean,
Yeah.
he does an amazing job playing the blind man.
Yeah, it's just one scene in the movie, but it's so important. It stands out because you really see the compassion. Here's the first person that showed him any compassion, and here's the first person who's helped him and tried to show understanding and healing him and feeding him. And you see even though he's a monster, he still has the needs like we all do. He still needs to feel connected and loved and safe and fed. And then he also teaches him, teaches him words. He teaches them how to speak, which is great because he knows fire and drink and bread and wood, all these and friend and all these great words. Yeah, I just think it really allows us to see the human in the monster. And I know I mentioned it on your last podcast, but for maybe your listeners who don't know, there's a term called romantic isolation that happens in horror films and allows us to identify with the monstrous in the human or the human in the monster. So monstrous in the human would be like the Wolfman. When Wolfman kills and we enjoy it, we identify with the monster. But when we identify with the creature, like who's just wants to be fed, and you see how lonely he is, we identify with the human and that tragedy. So that's gives us some empathy, some sympathy for the creature.
Yeah, and he actually invite the monster to rest in his cabin, and was like,
Right? Yeah,
that's
because
like
he,
a
yeah,
nice touching moment. And
it
also
is.
the monster loves listening to him play the violin,
Right. Yeah.
and yeah, and I love that touching moment when they're having a little toast to share
Hmm.
some bread. That's when we know that the monster is starting to talk.
Yes. Right.
It's
Yeah, it is
all
very touching.
because of the blind man.
Right.
That's what Victor should have done first. He should have like teach him to.
I think that
Uh,
was his intention originally, but
yeah,
yeah, it
instead
didn't
of
work
being
out.
tortured by the torch of flame.
Yeah, yeah. Because he still has that fear of fire here, very, very resonant. And but he learns the fire can do something good, like smoke, smoke good. So, uh, yeah. So Frankenstein gets to smoke cigars. That's kind of awesome, or at least the creature. I love that.
Yeah, smoke good.
Exactly.
I love when he said this first word like bread.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm surprised that I know this I know this famous this famous catchphrase of Frankenstein saying "fire bad,"
Hmm.
but he doesn't say that in the film. He's only said like "lone bad."
Right.
Yeah, but he doesn't say "fire bad."
Right. He has a strong reaction to it, and that's why the hermit says, "No, no, no. It's fire's good." So
Because
yeah,
because of smoke a cigar.
yeah, helps him to smoke, right, and cooks his food. So yeah.
Yeah, I just love that moment.
Hmm.
It's like, and I
Um,
love some hunters came in to visit. He noticed that the blind man was visited by the monster.
right. Yeah, they're telling them, then they usher the blind guy out, and we never see them again. Because right after then the monster kind of flees, and then Pretorius uses him to persuade Dr. Frankenstein to make the creature. Um,
Yeah,
you know,
and they actually let his house on fire.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause-
accidentally, right. Burned the hermit's hut
yeah,
down.
and
Yeah.
and then Frankenstein has to leave, and then has to leave the blind man behind, and then
Yes.
took off. I mean, that scene you kind of felt sorry for her because the
Hmm.
monster he just made a friend.
Sure.
That's like a most touching moment.
It is. I agree 100%. Yeah, it was still an emotional scene. I've seen the movie 50 times, but it's still that scene really still, it's like, yeah, it's still effective. It works. It's a little over the top, but I think the emotion's there. And so it's so rare to see that in a monster movie. We don't see that in the Mummy. We have a lot of understanding why, Imhotep is doing what he's doing, but we don't have like sympathy necessarily. We don't feel sorry or sympathy for the creature as much as any of the monsters. I think Frankenstein, and maybe a little bit for Creature of the Black Lagoon. You know, yeah.
Yeah. So so there's one character I do notice named Carl, who's played by Dwight Fry.
Yes.
I know Dwight Fry. He's in the original Frankenstein
Yeah.
as Fritz,
As
it's
Fritz.
the hunchback.
Right. He's playing the same kind of a helper supporting role. Right.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he actually works with Seporius. It, yeah, but he's played a different character because
Yeah.
Fritz was killed in the last film.
Right. Right. But it's nice to see that actor coming back and playing a similar role. I
Yeah,
think he's too important.
his character Carl looks a little bit similar to Fritz, but
Yes.
except
Yes.
he's not a hunchback.
No, and he's a lot more I think aware of things. He's not so clumsy. He's a lot more helpful, and he's not sadistic. There's nothing malicious about his actions.
Yeah, and he's actually killed off his character again.
Hmm.
It's just like I think this is like his third time killing off on screen because he was killed off in Dracula,
Yes.
Frankenstein, and this one.
Yeah. Yeah. I was never fortunate to play a recurring role. But I think
Yeah,
these movies have been a lot of fun to have been on. I'd love to have been on the shoot for this movie with James Whale directing and Boris Karloff. I think that would have been I have no idea. I'm sure there's a lot of pressure from the studio, but I'd like
and
to have been there to see that.
and he was also in Son of Frankenstein and Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, and yeah,
Yeah, they kept on bringing them back. I mean,
and
like
and
Universal has a studio of actors and
and
a
the
whole
Invisible
stable.
Man.
Yeah, and they just keep on kind of recirculating them, very much like Toho does in its Godzilla movies. They kind of
Right.
recirculate the same actors for multiple movies, and so it makes perfect sense because you were under a contract, and that's what they were under at this time. These pre-code horror films, the studio contract system. So you signed a contract with the studio, and you work for them for a certain number of years, for a certain number of pictures, and that was what happened. So I'm sure that's why he was in all these pictures. He was under contract, so he got a lot of work.
Yeah, and it was so sad that he passed away in 1944.
Yeah.
Yeah, and eh, actually 1943 actually. It, yeah,
Yeah, he's pretty young.
he died of a heart attack.
Yeah, that's young.
And I know he has a son named Dwight Dave Fry. Who's he passed away in 2003.
Hmm.
Yeah, but we always remember him as Winfield, Friss, and Carl.
Yeah, he's really great in all the roles. I mean, his Renfield is fantastic. I mean, you hear his laugh, so it's just so embodies the character that I think everyone who's played Renfield since has kind of tried to brought a little bit of his performance in theirs as well. Yeah, he's a good character actor. Yeah.
Yeah, so well, let's talk about the second main character in the film, like the bride.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to talk about the bride. I mean, we all know that that the villain has brought the monster to Victor, and the monster actually forced Victor to work to make a woman for as a bride for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they did, and then the one thing I know when they talk about when they're creating the bride, we notice like in the first film, you do know that in the film they were trying to find a brain, a new brain for the monster,
Right.
but in this one they didn't mention about a brain. They talk about, I think they mentioned for a new heart.
They needed a new heart because Pretorius had grown a brain. That's how he kind of got those little people. He said he discovered a process of like growing organically, like from seed. He talks about. So I don't know what his process is, but he made a brain that needed to be imprinted upon. But they still needed a physical body, and that's why they needed a heart. One that was working.
Yeah.
But she plays a wonderful bride. The difference you see when she's playing Mary Shelley and when she's playing the bride, I love those kind of quick bird-like movements. Her hair is a shock, but then she has these bird-like movements which are really
which she tells her. I mean, we all know she plays the bride for a 10-minute scene. I mean, I'm glad you brought up the head tilting like a bird. Like that's like all she does is tilt her head around.
Yeah,
like a
she
bird.
doesn't say anything. She hisses. Yeah, and again we see here's the creature trying to establish a relationship with her, and she turns him down. So like everybody in the monsters world turns him down, except for the hermit.
Yeah. Well, before we get to more of that, I mean, I would say I know she's played by Elsa Lenschert. That one thing I know her from is she was from Mary Poppins in 1964.
Okay.
Is she playing one of the one of the nannies?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, that I didn't even like I do know my uncle told me that when he saw Mary Poppins, he told me that she know the actress in the scene of she playing one of the nannies.
Hmm.
She was from Bride of Frankenstein as the bride that
Hmm.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, well, 30 years, that will certainly change how you look, for sure. Yeah, but yeah, yeah, and she's a great bride. I mean, I'd like to have seen more because these movies were so short. This was like an hour and 17 minutes or something. I would love to have seen more of the bride itself. I'd like to have seen
I mean
something more where she develops into a character, a little
yeah,
bit.
the Bride of Frankenstein is it's most like one of the most popular characters in
Yeah,
history. It's like her face is like everywhere around around Halloween,
yeah,
like in cartoons and TV shows and
yeah.
commercials and
And my friend Midnight Gadfly, who's on Unsane Radio with us, he printed this out for me.
wow.
Yeah, it's like a coaster, you know. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, she's great. She's awesome.
Yeah, and then first of all, when they created her, I mean, all we see is she was all wrapped in bandages like a
Hmm.
mummy,
Yeah.
and then cover her eyes, and then and also they just repeat like the same catchphrase lines from the original, like it's alive, and Victor said like this, like she's alive,
Hmm.
alive.
Right. Right.
Well, it's not as much as the original, like it's alive, it's
Hmm.
alive.
They have some new equipment that are help bring her to life. So I think I like that how they send out the kites and that new apparatus that kind of comes. They kind of raise her up and bring her down. It reminds me a little bit of something that you would have seen like in Metropolis. That Fritz Lang kind of stuff. But yeah, it's whatever technology that was being used is it's awesome to look at. From the Jacob's ladder to all those other things, all the electrical work and the sounds. It's just kind of great.
Yeah, and and also I love, and I know the makeup of her was done by Jack Pierce,
Hmm. Hmm.
who also done the monster. And
Right.
I mean, I just love the makeup design that Jack Pierce did. I mean, especially that scar on the bottom of her neck.
Right. It's very clear where you can very clearly see where they stitched her together. Where you didn't see that necessarily with Frankenstein because of his appearance. It's like you see the bolts and it's more apparent on his wrists as you see those stitch marks. But with her, you clearly see lines. So you can see how she had kind of been stitched together. Yeah, it's simple but effective look
Yeah, and
because she's not wearing any heavy appliances like Boris Karloff. She has that wig, but she's just kind of wearing makeup and that's it.
yeah, I just love the hairstyle.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like what it's
Like
almost
it's
like
been
she's in
shocked.
shock. Yeah.
Yeah, in shock with that, and then with that, with the white on the sides, almost like the lightning, like she's captured the lightning. That's how I always kind of took it. Like it's like a
Yeah,
shock of lightning.
especially the white hairlines on both
Yeah,
sides. And
yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's almost like Matt Groening just came up with the idea for Marge Simpson and The Simpsons.
I definitely believe it was an inspiration for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and so so I'm just surprised at this one sad moment. It's like people thought that they gonna live happily ever after the monster and his bride, but turns out it there's no
No.
happily ever after of that moment. It's just
No, no, the
she
possibility, the ramifications of happily ever after are too bad. Like, I mean, I don't think they could reproduce, but you never know. Maybe they could. Maybe they could make super Frankenstein babies. I don't know. Uh,
no.
how does dead tissue when it gets reanimated? Because is it still viable? Yeah, you kind of want happiness for the creature. That's again, it's an extra sense of pathos, sadness here, emotion, where you again like, my God, doesn't the creature ever get a break? And then he kind of tells the doctor, "You go live." Like
Yeah, but
and yeah, which is
it's
which
like
is like really different. But except for Pretorius, like no, Pretorius, you got to stay here with the bride and me, and
yeah,
we're gonna bite it.
yeah, and because it's because the bride is she's afraid of the monster
Right,
because
right.
I mean I almost grew a tear at that moment. I thought they
Hmm.
were be happy together, but no, she's like afraid like uh, when she screams. I mean
Sure.
that kind of that's moment which after she screams and Frankenstein's like she hate me
Hmm.
like that moment it's just it reminds me it takes me back to my days when like when my ex-girlfriend broke up with me
Mm.
back in my teenage years and all that
Hmm. I
and
can
like
certainly see that. Certainly, yeah. You can identify it. You know, anytime that there's rejection, it always is painful. You know, it's
yeah like when
never
my
feels good.
yeah it's like my ex broke up with me and then it's like I know that's a set that was the worst day of my life for me. I was just I know and after that moment I always put on Bride of Frankenstein. I always put on that scene. It's just
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. When that happens, I just put on that scene. It's like
Sure.
takes me back to
Yeah.
that
But
moment
like
that happened.
Frankenstein, you've continued on, so that's good, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So before we get to the end more, I mean, I do know. I mean, the bride, he only she only appears at this in the film in the ending for
Hmm.
10 minutes. I
Yeah.
mean, she's only in the film for a short time. I mean,
Right. And most of that 10 minutes, she's wrapped up and not doing anything. She's only up and awake for a couple minutes at the last few minutes of the film.
yeah. Why did they call it the but why did they title
Mm.
it The Bride of Frankenstein? I think they're trying to confuse audience. Like she only appears at the end,
Yeah.
and people, I bet the audience when they saw it in theaters, it's like, well, where's the bride? When she will be
Right. She comes
appeared?
in late. Well, just like but that's what Pretorius wants from the get-go, like to build another creature. Yeah, I guess it's hard to say how titles come up, but it's a catchy title. It does ultimately point to the bride. Just like Son, I mean Ghost, there's no real ghost in Ghost of Frankenstein, but it's a great title. It's like
Yeah,
the spirit carries on,
and
yeah.
I don't know if this is like a rumor, but I heard it was originally going to be titled The Return of Frankenstein.
Oh.
I
Well, I
think that
like
was
Bride much better. I think Bride is a
yeah, I
much
think that
better
was the
title.
original title was going to be,
Yeah.
but they decided like to change it to Bride because they want to add a bride in there for the
Yeah.
monster.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's
Because the
I think that
idea of a Frankenstein monster getting married, I think, sounds so outrageous. I think that's part of like, oh my gosh, people are going to come see this because how can a Frankenstein monster get married? I could easily see that, but it's a great title.
yeah, and people get confused with the title of Bride of Frankenstein. They thought Victor was gonna have a bride, but if you know he's already married to
Right.
Elizabeth,
Yeah.
they
Right.
meant for the monster.
Sure. Right. People still confuse the creature, and they still call the creature Frankenstein, even though that's not the creature's name. It's always the monster or the creature. Um,
Yeah, they just
but
call him the
yeah.
monster, but Victor Frankenstein is
Right.
named Frankenstein, the guy
Correct.
who created the monster.
Right, right. But we also see Elizabeth does take a strong role in this film, so that could be. She's not in a lot of it, but the roles that she's in, then she does have a strong presence. So yeah, it could be multi layers, but I really think they were suggesting that the creature, that's who
And
they're
I know
talking
the
about.
monster kidnaps her, and then they tie her up because they force because Victor refused to do to make the bride, but
Yeah, he didn't want to. He's trying to learn from his arrogance and his hubris. He doesn't really want to do this, but he does succumb to it eventually.
and it was just it's just a sad moment when Elizabeth appears to give Victor, and then but Victor can't lead them, but the monster he just lets them go because they want them to live, and he wants to
Hmm.
die with the villain, the bride, and
Yeah, it's a
it's like
surprising turn for the creature because he now sees Pretorius as the villain, and
yeah.
less Frankenstein. Even though he hates living, he wants them to go live. So
Yeah, if you
yeah,
look carefully when he's almost pulling the lever, I mean, you could if you look carefully, you can
Yeah,
almost see like a tear.
yeah, because he looks at his bride and she's like hissing at him, and so
I
it's
like to talk about that
yeah, his
hiss.
final heartbreak, as he blows them blows everybody up.
I want to talk about that hiss.
Sure.
I think it was the Elsa. I think it was the actress Elsa's idea for that hiss
Oh,
because
nice.
I think she told the story like when when they were kids, like when she was a kid with her father, when she always goes to a swamp full of swans or geese. She always feeds them, but when they got too close, the geese hiss. So
Oh,
that's how they come up. She come up with that hiss.
that's great. Well, a lot of animals do hiss to kind of warn people, predators off. So, no, it's really effective because she doesn't speak, and with her bird-like movements, it's almost like she is kind of like an animal. It makes perfect sense. That's
Yeah,
great.
it does because of the
Yeah,
hiss and the head tilting.
yeah, I love it. Yeah, yeah, her performance. I mean, it's so short-lived, but it's so iconic, and those camera angles are really great as well.
Yeah, and so like, well, Mark, I guess we're almost about to
I
wrap up,
know,
and
and we talked about 20 minutes longer than you were thinking we were going to talk.
yeah,
I know it
that's
went
what
by
I
so
thought it
fast.
was gonna be, but no, we know much more, and
There's a
so
lot to talk
yeah,
about. It's a good movie. It's certainly worth
it
watching, especially this time of year. And if you've never seen it, then definitely take the time to go out and find it. Get it. It is probably going to be on Turner Classic, but I'm sure you can stream it somewhere. But it is certainly worth watching.
yeah, and it is and it is one of the best sequels to the Universal monsters, and
Definitely, definitely. And all the main movies then now start getting sequels. We'll notice that trend. You know, the only we have multiple Dracula movies, multiple Wolfman movies, multiple Dracula or Frankenstein movies, multiple Mummy movies, multiple Creature from the Black Lagoon, multiple Invisible Man. So they realize that we got a franchise. We can just make some money and keep on cranking these out. So
yeah, and once again, this film was done by James Whale, who did an amazing job for the sequel, who also did the original Frankenstein and he did Dracula and the Invisible Man.
yeah, he does a great job, and really brought a touch of the humanity and the humor. He kind of warmed up the film a little bit. That was a lot of James Whale. He wanted that humor and
And
wanted that.
I heard that James Will almost he doesn't want to do the sequel to Frankenstein. He almost passed on this, but they say they want him to do it, and this must be and this would be James Whale's. I think this was his last film before he passed away.
I don't know when he passed away. I'm not sure about that, but
Yeah, I mean, let me look him up. I mean, and
yeah, but it's certainly. I mean, he did wonderful work. It's certainly one of his best. With it, yeah, these Universal movies are just something spectacular. You know, the sets are wonderful. I can watch
I
them
mean,
year round.
well, he passed away in 1957. I mean, yeah, this was must be his last Frankenstein movie he ever directed
Yeah.
because he passed. Because he kind of passes the other Frankenstein movies, and I know that Boris Karloff did play the monster 3 times, but his last time playing the monster was in Son of Frankenstein.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't
What is
Son
that?
of Frankenstein, wasn't that Glenn Strange, or was that Boris Karloff?
No, Son of Frankenstein is Boris Karloff.
Okay.
Yeah, this was his last time playing the monster in Son of Frankenstein.
Because then it takes over Glenn Strange and then Bela Lugosi both take turns playing the creature.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because Boris Karloff he doesn't have that monster experience because of James Whale passes off the because he kind of doesn't want to do any Frankenstein sequels.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's why Boris Karloff quit playing the monster.
Yeah, I think the makeup was a lot, and he was getting roles, other roles in Universal and other movies. He was becoming quite the movie star through this, so he began doing other movies that didn't require such heavy makeup.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like 5 or 6 or 7 hours in the makeup chair every morning. It was just, and a couple hours after you're done shooting. It had to be grueling.
Yeah, and I did know that Son of Frankenstein. I know I think I saw it once or twice. I know,
Hmm.
but you do know in this one they did not mention about the bride, and the bride's not in this one. They didn't mention, and
And
they
which
didn't
one?
mention in Son of
Oh
Frankenstein.
yeah, yeah. So don't forget. Right, right. Yeah, this is a different character, kind of much later on. Yeah, I do love Son of Frankenstein. I really do. I like it. I love the sets. Just like you see the sets in Frankenstein's house are just gorgeous. These interior sets. The same thing with Son of Frankenstein. A kind of Art Deco, really beautiful look. That's probably my favorite thing about it. And the guy who plays the was it the police chieftain or the constable? His performance is great. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
fantastic.
with the wooden arm that's almost like
Yeah, yeah,
from
he's great.
Young Frankenstein.
Right.
Yeah,
Again, another great movie parodied by Mel Brooks. Yeah, certainly.
yeah. But well, Mark, I had to say thank you so much for joining me again for one of the classic Universal monsters, and yeah, you're actually in my Frankenstein episodes twice,
Nice.
and I'm glad to have you back. And
I'm glad to be back. I'm just like the sequel. Hey, the sequel will come back. I had a great time, Brenda, and thank you for inviting me. And anytime that I'm able to come on and be a part of your show, I'm always up for it. So thanks again.
yeah, and if I do. Yeah, if I do do an episode about Young Frankenstein, I would definitely gonna have you come back.
Sounds good. It's a great movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and so some of you are watching. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Halloween podcast episodes coming soon. So see ya.